I was startled when my husband called me at work. His usually calm voice was filled with anger, leaving me surprised and concerned. I hardly explained the situation to clear up any misunderstandings, confused by his sudden outburst. I sought answers from my sister-in-law. I decided to contact her, and what I discovered left me shocked. My name is Linda, and I have been married to my husband Bob for 3 years. We recently welcomed our first child, a beautiful daughter named Hannah. As a first-time mother, I found it challenging without the support of my parents, who lived far away since my discharge from the hospital. I had been managing everything by myself during the day, and I must admit that Bob's attentiveness to Hannah has been a tremendous help. Even when he was exhausted from work, he never complained about attending to her needs, whether it was putting her to sleep or soothing her cries. In the middle of the night, Bob's gentle nature alleviated much of my stress, and I was truly grateful for his presence. So when he called me with anger in his voice, it caught me off guard. "Babe, I just received a call from Mom about what was happening." Bob's voice was filled with confusion and frustration. I responded, "Mom called." "What do you mean? Why would I leave our newborn with Marissa every day?" Bob's tongue grew even more astonished as he continued. "What do you mean? Mom said Marissa has been taking care of Hannah all by herself." I couldn't believe it. "How could you leave our 3-week-old baby with her? Marissa has no experience with infants. I understand you're exhausted after giving birth, but you should have discussed it with me first." His sudden mention of Marissa. His words struck me. The sudden mention of Marissa and the word newborn left me utterly confused. Marissa was my sister-in-law, who lived just a short walk away with their parents. She worked from home and cared for her mother, which made her flexible, but I had no recollection of leaving Hannah in her care. I was completely lost. "I don't understand what you're talking about when Marissa takes care of a newborn. And why would Mom call you? Why should I consult with you before leaving Hannah with Marissa?" I desperately tried to make sense of the situation. Bob's voice was filled with disbelief as he replied, "You've been leaving Hannah with Marissa for nearly 2 weeks. Marissa hasn't complained because she doesn't want to ruin your relationship, but Mom couldn't bear it any longer and called me." I'm shocked. His words left me in a state of shock. It was a story. I had no memory of it, yet our daughter was right in front of me, sleeping peacefully. Numerous questions flooded my mind, but clearing up the misunderstanding became my priority in an attempt to resolve the confusion. I quickly responded, "No. Our daughter is at home sleeping right now. She's here with me. I haven't left her with Marissa or anyone else." Bob's astonishment grew even further as he exclaimed, "What do you mean? I'm as baffled as you are. I was told that it's best not to take newborns out too much, so we haven't really been anywhere. Besides medical checkups, I haven't even brought her to my family home. And I haven't seen Marissa since she visited us after the birth." Puzzled and overwhelmed, we found ourselves questioning whose baby Marissa had been taken care of. One question led to another, leaving us scratching our heads. The time signaling its conclusion rang through the phone, and I made a decision. I resolved to reach out to Marissa and seek the truth. I wanted to understand why Marissa would lie if she genuinely believed she was taking care of our baby Hannah. It was a perplexing situation, so I decided to call my mom as well. Bob hesitated before apologizing, realizing he had doubted me out of worry for Hannah. "It's okay. You were just concerned about Hannah, and when I assured you that she's here, you believed me without question." I reassured him. After ending the call, I immediately dialed Marissa's number. "Marissa, it's been a while. Do you have a minute? There's something I want to ask," I said, eager to understand the truth. Marissa's response surprised me. "Linda, I have something to say too." Bob and Marissa were close in age, and we had always gotten along well. We used to hang out together even before I started dating Bob. I couldn't fathom why Marissa hadn't mentioned anything about the situation to me. I wondered why she would lie. "Well, this is a good time. I just heard from Bob, Marissa." "What do you mean you're looking after Hannah?" "I've never left Hannah with anyone," I said, trying to grasp the situation. I started explaining Hannah is right here with me sleeping soundly. "I really don't understand what's going on. But how did you end up with a baby, Marissa? And why did you think the baby was Hannah? Marissa responded, revealing another surprising revelation. Last week, Dad dropped a baby off with me. He said Linda seems to be having a tough time on her own, so you should help her with her baby. My voice couldn't help but rise in astonishment. Then Marissa dropped another bombshell, saying, yeah, I was so scared because I've never cared for a baby. I hadn't heard anything from you, Linda, and when I thought about calling you, Dad said if you call Linda, she'll just get worked up. Don't you have any consideration for your sister-in-law? I also have a job to do even when I'm home. It appears that everything started with a lie from my father-in-law. However, it was unclear who the child Marissa was caring for. Truly, I thought confronting my father-in-law directly would bring clarity, so I asked Marissa if he was home. Unfortunately, he was out at the moment, and lately he had been coming home late in the evening picking up the child, claiming he would return her to me, and then leaving again within 20 to 30 minutes. Frustrated that my father-in-law had used me and my daughter to deceive others, I felt compelled to confront him directly. I get it. I'll need to talk with Bob, but we might come over tonight, I told Marissa before hanging up the phone. I also emailed my husband informing him of what I had heard from his sister. Bob replied, suggesting I think it's better to ask Dad directly, so when Bob arrived home, we decided to visit my in-laws because of the way Bob shared the conversation he had with his mother. She was also upset to discover that the child she believed to be her grandchild wasn't. It was a shock for everyone. I didn't think Hannah's first meeting with everyone would be like this. It's complicated. My mother hasn't met our daughter yet due to her bad back. I was hoping to introduce Hannah once she was ready to go out after a month, but instead I'm upset that we're introducing her in the midst of such a mess. Bob expressed his disappointment upon arriving at my in-laws' place. Both my mother-in-law and sister-in-law looked bewildered as we entered. Marissa spoke up. Bob, Linda's dad, said he was going to return the child we've been looking after, but he hasn't come back yet. Understanding the circumstances, I approached my mother-in-law with Hannah, saying, Mom, despite the confusion, this is our daughter Hannah. I moved Hannah closer to her, hoping to resolve the chaos surrounding our newborn. As I saw the softened expression on my mother-in-law's face while she looked at Hannah, her adorable granddaughter, she couldn't help but remark that she looks just like Bob when he was born. I'm so glad to finally meet her. Linda, you've done so well. I'm sorry you've been caught up in all this. I reassured her it's okay. I'm just as confused as everyone else. Marissa chimed in, expressing her frustration. I don't understand it either. Who is this child we've been looking after? I don't know why he's lying, and I've been working so hard thinking that child was Hannah. He should consider how I feel too. Trying to lighten the mood, Bob interjected. Before that, Marissa, you've met Hannah. You should have noticed it's a different baby. Marissa hurriedly defended herself. Well, don't all babies look similar? I thought I felt something odd, but I thought maybe their faces change over a few days. Just then our father-in-law returned, and in a panicked state he asked, I'm back. Wait, why are Bob and Linda here? It became evident that this whole situation was his lie, and the rest of us, including my husband, sister-in-law, and myself, glared at him with disdain. Unable to tolerate the tension in the room, our father-in-law stumbled over his words as we gave him hard stares, and I couldn't contain my anger any longer, gripping my daughter tighter. I was furious at our father-in-law for using me and my daughter's names to lie and then blaming Marissa. Feeling the same way, both my husband and sister-in-law's fists clenched in frustration. My husband was the first to speak up, his voice filled with anger. Dad, are you seriously saying that? Don't you think it's a bit too shoddy even for you? What do you mean? Taken aback by the intensity of my husband's anger, our father-in-law tried to play dumb, but my husband and sister-in-law didn't let up. My husband continued, Dad, explain yourself. Linda has never babysat Hannah. Why would you lie like that? There must be a reason for someone to babysit a stranger's newborn, right? My sister-in-law chimed in. That's right. You tricked me into babysitting. Who is that child? I'm scared. Even if it's my brother's child, let alone a stranger. I won't do it again. Do you have any idea how much this has set back my work, with both of them firing off their frustrations at full speed? Our father-in-law was at a loss for words while we awaited the truth. My mother-in-law, looking pale, uttered, "No way, you're not still involved with her." Her words left my husband's sister-in-law and me stunned. My father-in-law began to break into a cold sweat, attempting to play dumb. But my mother-in-law continued to explain, her voice trembling and eyes welling up with tears. "I knew it. You're still involved with her. I was a fool to forgive you back then." Confused, my husband asked, "Back then? What do you mean?" In response, our father-in-law's face turned even paler, and my mother-in-law ignored his question, saying he had an affair around the time you two were getting married about 3 years ago. He promised me he would never do it again, so I forgave him, but now that's why Hannah looked a bit like Bob. She's his blood after all. I thought she was my real grandchild, unable to hold back any longer. My mother-in-law broke into tears, witnessing her pain. My anger towards my father-in-law intensified, but my husband regained his composure and directed his anger at our father-in-law, lashing out, "You're the worst dad. You didn't just lie to us. You betrayed Mom twice. How could you do such a thing? I can't believe that a person like you is our father." Marissa too expressed her disbelief, exclaiming, "What do you mean by my child? Are you kidding me? You had a child with your mistress and left it with me. I can't believe it. How can you calmly do such a thing? It's too disgusting. I don't want to see your face ever again." Despite the harsh words from his own children, our father-in-law chuckled and said, "Calm down. There's nothing we can do about what's already happened. The mistress didn't want to marry me or anything like that. She just didn't have any money, so she had to work. In the meantime, I had to take care of the child." His laughter and dismissive attitude infuriated me further. My husband, sister-in-law, and I continued to confront him, but instead of offering any explanations or apologies, our father-in-law tried to brush it off, causing my anger to reach its peak. I locked eyes with my father-in-law, my voice trembling with fury. "Stop it. You worthless man. What you did isn't a laughing matter. A person has been born. Do you understand the gravity of that at your age?" My words trailed off, but my gaze remained fixed on him, silently demanding an answer. "I no longer possess the confidence to keep up with someone like you. It's time for us to get a divorce." "Wait, didn't you forgive me?" Last time, my father-in-law's disingenuous smile vanished and his face sagged, revealing the weight of his actions. The carefree attitude he displayed earlier disappeared, replaced by seriousness. He attempted to justify himself. "Sure, I made a mistake by cheating, but if venting my frustrations outside keeps our home peaceful, isn't that a good thing? Besides, how will you survive without me? You've always been a housewife, probably without any money." As my father-in-law clung to my mother-in-law's feet, uttering these words, I watched him with icy eyes, glancing at my husband and sister-in-law. I saw that they shared the same disdain for him. Everyone in the room had grown tired of my father-in-law's behavior. My sister-in-law's voice trembled with anger as she shouted, "I'll take care of Mom, so we'll be fine without you. How do you plan to live? You've always relied on Mom for everything, from meals to laundry. Are you sure you'll manage on your own?" My father-in-law's face betrayed his distress at Marissa's words. He looked at my mother-in-law with pleading eyes, hoping she wouldn't abandon him. "You wouldn't leave me, would you? We've been together for decades, and you can't imagine life without me." However, my father-in-law's hopes were swiftly crushed, and my mother-in-law shook off his cleaning arm. "Stop joking. How much do you need to be little people to feel satisfied? Who would want to be with a cheater like you? I'm divorcing you right now. If you like her so much, why don't you go be with your mistress?" Panic struck, and my father-in-law pleaded for another chance. "Wait. Let's talk. We can work it out. That woman was just a fling. The only one I love is you." But his pleas fell on deaf ears. My sister-in-law's voice, filled with anger, addressed him once more. "There's no point in talking to someone who has no intention of reflecting on their actions. We're leaving this place soon. Mom is coming with us, and you, Dad, better not come home. I never want to see your face again." Now get lost." Marissa forcefully ushered my father-in-law outside, but he stubbornly refused to leave. Eventually, Bob had to physically drag him out. "Please wait and give me another chance. Just one more time," my father-in-law shouted until the very end. Yet no one paid him any attention. As Marissa had predicted, my father-in-law's life spiraled into chaos, unable to perform even basic household chores. His house became increasingly cluttered and filthy. Seeking solace with his mistress, he found the door shut in his face. It seemed she had no intention of marrying him either. With no one left to look after his children, the mistress couldn't go to work, and she demanded alimony. As a result, their disputes led them to court, contesting matters such as child support. Meanwhile, my sister-in-law and mother-in-law moved to an apartment near our house near Santana's birth over a month ago. I have been visiting them more frequently, maintaining a friendly relationship with Marissa as if nothing has changed my relationship with my mother-in-law.